Welcome to another video. This is Todd from Figure Fiend. This video I'm going to cover development of Mego style figures based on 80s arcade games, 80s arcade cabinet art in particular. Growing up, I think my full interest in the arts, I drew all the time, but I was really drawn to comics, monster magazines, paperback novels, that sort of thing. It was when the arcades opened in the early 80s that I really saw the arcade cabinet stuff for the first time, and I was really drawn to that artwork. So this stuff was really powerful and really dynamic and super colorful, and me basically wanting to take a pass at doing some figures based on that, starting with Wizard of Wor. Wizard of Wor was an interesting one for me. The cabinet itself, I love the fact that it had this aspect of sci-fi and fantasy tied together with the wizard character and then these sort of like space marine type characters fighting these insectoids and dinosaur-like creatures. So I took a pass on starting with the wizard himself. The first stage was to basically build out the template for the robe and then cut out each of those based on fabrics that I found that I wanted a sort of satin finish to them. And then once I had that, it was pinning all of those to set and prep. Those are actually the ones at the bottom are for Doctor Strange. So I was doing those at the same time, same fabric. And once I machined that robe, I was able to attach the hands and head that I sculpted. And the hands are interesting because they're very robotic in a sense. And the head is very stylized. Once I had that together, I was sort of like looking how to finish it, using what body with boots, and then doing a painting pass on at least drawing attention to the eyes. And then once I had that photograph, I could do the layout for the ad that I wanted to do to basically showcase the figure alongside the image from the arcade game, and then mount that to the card itself using that artwork, using that logo, showing it on the back, all of that stuff to reinforce it. Which I was happy with the way it came out. It was very wizardy, it was very sci-fi. The next up was Chiller. I absolutely loved this arcade. Like the cabinet art, the colors, it being like very horror based, and just the sheer like shock of the game. You know, it's interesting because the company was known for another game in the late 70s called Death Race. So they had hoped that they had gotten so much bad attention from parents for this game called Death Race that by the time they shipped Chiller, it would also create a lot of like buzz and press. It did not. No one seemed to care, but the kids loved it. So I started off with using a basic body, using Perseus's head, cutting sections off, using the rib case from the Ghost of Captain kit I made, and then setting up the card to be AHI styled, but also include the Chiller cabinet art, and make sure that that was present really in a dominant way on the back and front, and use one of the screens itself. The next one was doing something based on Tempest. I love the vector graphics of this game at the time. So clean in the cabinet art, had these demons basically pouring out of this void in space. So I wanted to capture the main demon from that. And that's basically what I was looking at, is looking at the arcade cabinet art, the top header part for the overall shape and silhouette of the head. And then looking at starting off the basic sculpt for that demon character. And I did 2 passes on this. The first pass was just getting the general silhouette and then adding detail at getting the creature a little bit closer to what I wanted. And then once the head was done, I then had to figure out what to do with the body. I found a couple fursuits, gray, brown, nothing light enough for the colors, but I was able to use these heavy inks to then add enough saturation to make it look a lot lighter than it really was, and then use the same for the center patches, and then paint the details, photograph him in space like he was in the arcade cabinet, and then use that artwork from the arcade cabinet to basically mock up the cards and get the right sort of color values and include that on the back as well. After doing the Tempest, this next one I did is not based on this cabinet. Haunted Castle. I had never seen this in my local town in the local arcades. I didn't even know it existed, but I would have loved this. It was based on NES's Castlevania, which is shown here. I saw this box in Toys R Us on the wall. I did not have a Nintendo, didn't know much about it, but I saw this box and I was like, I need this. So I was 13 or 14 at the time. I got a job as a busboy that week, and then I earned enough money working for the next 7 days, 10 days, whatever it was, and then rode back on my bike to Toys R Us, and I rode away with the Nintendo and the Castlevania. And so focusing on him basically doing Dracula based on the box art, doing a sculpt of the head, doing the necklace, doing the hands, and then trying to incorporate the image from the game itself into the back card art, like the sort of pivotal scene of fighting Dracula at the end of the game, destroying him. And then looking at that really closely, I'm like, I really like the color palette of that, so I'm going to do a variant based on that has the tones in the game and for the necklace and head specifically, and then I'll reverse that and I'll put the box art on the back. So I did do these, I believe, last year, all 4 of them that I sold as a batch. I will end up taking those to shows at some point in the future, but yeah. And also, sculpting videos are coming. I'm just trying to figure out a way to trim something down that's like hours long into 5 minutes. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And let me know what you guys think and what your experience were with the arcades and arcade cabinets and what that stuff meant to you. All right, thanks again.